Hi everyone, my name's Ashley Anderssen and welcome to the very first episode of Aperitivo Hour, a podcast where we dive into the world of PropTech and product management. Who is this channel going to be for? Really? Anyone curious to hear from the PropTech side or product side of PropTech? And today's just a quick one as I want to share a bit about who I am, my career journey, and ultimately why I've started this podcast. This is a journey to learn from some of the brilliant product minds that are shaping the PropTech industry. I want to bring you along on this journey to understand the mechanics that make PropTech tick, the tricks and tradecraft that these product gurus have picked up throughout the years, and ultimately, it's about the people behind the products, the stories behind the strategies, and the connections that drive the industry forward. So, let's start from the beginning about how I got to where I am today, which should give you a good idea about why I'm so curious. Back in school, I wasn't exactly the academic type. In university, it just didn't seem like the right path for me, really. And my goal was simple: survive school and start working. So the first taste of real estate was just a few weeks after the HSC. I landed my first full-time job as a receptionist at a real estate agency. It wasn't the most thrilling job at 17, but it was a start for the next 6 to 12 months before I took a detour into beauty therapy. Honestly, those two careers couldn't seem more different, but it turned out to be perfect training ground for real estate. It's all about the people, building connections, developing soft skills, and working long hours on your feet. Trust me, working every weekend was a pretty solid warm-up for the schedule of real estate demands. A few years later, I was 22 and I decided it was time for a change. I wanted back into real estate. I went back as a receptionist and sales admin, which is about 12, 13 years ago, and the industry was a lot more manual with manila stack piles and paper processes for absolutely everything. It was an old school agency that still used MS-DOS for their CRM, something I'd never seen before, actually, and I don't think I've touched it since. And nothing was automated. Everything was manual. But it was also a place that valued professionalism and had really great work ethic. And something I really grew to appreciate as I progressed through my career was being with an agency that had ethics that really focused on doing the right thing. Now, over the years, I wore so many hats in real estate: receptionist, BDM, sales admin, office coordinator handling sales trusts, and eventually a sales associate working closer to the buyer side of things. Now, each role taught me something new and brought me closer to understanding the real estate world dynamics from all those sides. And there were so many experiences over those years that really drove home the importance of streamlined processes and simplifying the day-to-day tasks that shouldn't need such a high level of human touch. So I'll tell you one of the stories as an example. Okay, so it was a typical Saturday when I was an assistant BDM, packed with back-to-back rental open homes. I think I had about 12 to show that day, and we were running from one to the next with barely any time in between, which is pretty normal to real estate. And at one property, I set up the A-frame, walked past a group of prospective renters, and told them I'd be right with them. I headed upstairs, knocked, called out, advising who I was, unlocked the door with the keys I had in my pack, and started turning on all the lights, absolutely powering through it. Then, surprise, a man came barreling down the hallway, straight out of the shower, you could tell, and he was just as shocked as I was. There was obviously a misunderstanding about the open home, and as his property had been added to my run sheet, I didn't have any visibility over what comms were sent out. But thinking back to so many of those situations in real estate, they could have been resolved by better automations of standard tasks, better visibility of the communication logs. And that really encourages me that years later, the tech being thought up and built now can only be having a positive effect on the real estate agents, the property managers that are dealing with these day-to-day issues, and that they do have that ability now to see what they need to see to be able to communicate clearly. Now, when you can really empathize about these situations, why wouldn't I want to be part of finding where to make improvements and help shape those roadmaps to push the industry forward? And that's kind of where the PropTech comes in, right? And we will be diving into the PropTech through a product lens more as this podcast unfolds. In each future episode, as I interview a number of people that I'm sure you'll know the products if you don't recognize the guests themselves. Fast forward to 2019, and I love the real estate industry, but something wasn't quite right. I saw a job in an email from my recruiter. Pretty sure everyone in real estate has their recruitment company that they've known for years and still get those emails. Anyway, this role was as an onboarding consultant at a cloud property management software. Honestly, kind of felt like my golden opportunity. I wanted to grow and I wanted to learn, and starting to feel that it wasn't probably going to be through real estate in the traditional sense. And I didn't want to start from scratch. I was a licensed real estate agent. I didn't want the past 7 years to go to waste. So I got the job, and the transition was huge. I went from being pretty confident and in control of my day-to-day in real estate to navigating the world of PropTech, sitting in front of a computer like a 9 to 5 Dolly Parton song. Now, I was learning new software and working with agencies to migrate over, which was a challenging change, but wow, it also gave me a whole new appreciation for tech and how it could revolutionize the industry I'd spent so many years in. Now, keep in mind, I made this transition about 6 months before the pandemic, which ended up being an insanely busy time for a cloud software in any industry, especially in PM, I know, in real estate. Imagine all those agencies with huge on-premise servers where their old faithful PM software was stored up and backed up daily. The panic was real for a lot of PMs, but my view is that as tough as the pandemic was, it pushed real estate into the modern world, and it gave offices the hunger to be current, to start having the advantages other industries have with technology. And we've really seen the leaps PropTech in Australia has taken, and it's got so much further to go. Now, fast forward, I'm in my current company, and I was pretty curious to be part of a company launching a new way of thinking about compliance management and tenant safety. And it's here that I was able to move into product management, which is where this all ties together, right? And honestly, before PropTech, I'd never heard of product management. So as a bit of an idea of what do I even do, a product manager is a person who really identifies a customer need. They see the bigger picture and the larger business objectives, and they rally the team into turning their vision all into a reality. So it's really pulling everything together. Even just starting this product journey a few years back, I was told that only people who had gone to uni would be ever suitable in this role. Didn't quite make sense to me at the time, or now, especially now. And recently I was listening to a podcast where Ariana Huffington was a guest, right? And she was asked, what was it about her that let her break through doors? Her answer? She was willing to fail. And I love that. It's pretty much what I did back then when I was told that my background wasn't right, that I needed to come from a specific path to make a difference. But I jumped in anyway, and I found a way forward, because one of the main requirements is being customer centric. Using data, yes, of course, but also using your instincts, your experience, and producing value with the user in mind, which is really my domain. Having that grasp of the bigger vision and looking for the improvements we can make to give a better experience for the end user, the agencies, the tenants, the landlords. Now, I'm not breaking through any doors myself, but taking a chance has been something I think I'm pretty decent at. Now, in the present, I want to take the leap again, even though I have no guarantees that anyone will be as curious as I am about this specific niche, and it's a very specific niche. I'm launching this podcast, Aperitivo Hour. This podcast is a chance for me to continue that journey of curiosity. I want to understand the mechanics that make PropTech tick outside my own little bubble, learn from the product managers that are crafting the visions, and have you come along and learn those with me. Whether you're here to learn from the successes and challenges of product leaders, catch up on the latest trends in PropTech, or just enjoy some of the banter, I hope this podcast offers something valuable. Now, why call it Aperitivo Hour? It's no secret that I love a good aperitivo, but what hooked me on the name is that I've really noticed the last few years how remote work has changed the learning dynamic. Where before you learned by osmosis in the office, it was even more so at lunch and after work drinks with colleagues and peers, hearing it all, hearing all the stories, right? You learn the lessons that way. And the point of these episodes is to take that back in a different way, learn about the people behind the products, the stories behind the strategies and the connections that drive us forward. And so Aperitivo Hour is here to make sure you leave every episode feeling a little bit more connected to the community, a little more inspired, and a lot more excited about the future of PropTech. So, Chin, here's to new adventures. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're curious to hear more stories from the world of PropTech product management, I'd really appreciate it if you would follow the podcast on Spotify, follow me on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube to watch it all in 4K. Until next time, I'm Ashley Anderssen, and this is Aperitivo Hour.